Thank you. Welcome all of you to Harvard Divinity School and the Andover Chapel. I'm Diane Moore. I'm a professor here at the Divinity School and the director of the Religious Literacy Project, which is one of the 3 Harvard-centered sponsoring organizations that brought our wonderful musicians to us this evening. So welcome again to this lecture demonstration. We only have an hour together with these wonderful musicians, and I want to invite all of you at 6 o'clock to join us for a brief reception downstairs after the performance. If you go down the stairs and to the right to go to the Braun Room, that's where the reception will be, again, somewhat brief because our musicians need to get back to Brandeis. So the other 2 organizations, the 3 who are sponsoring, are the Religious Literacy Project, the Prince Al-Walid Islamic Studies Center, and the Davis Center for Russian and Eurasian Studies. We also are fortunate enough to have with us this evening Judith Eissenberg, who is at Brandeis University, and she's really the reason, with a program that she directs there called Music Unites Us, that these musicians are here in the area that allowed us to bring them here to Harvard tonight. But before I introduce Judy to say a quick word, we don't want to talk much because we want you to hear these musicians. I am going to introduce my colleague Ali Asani, who is the director of the Prince Al-Walid Center, to say a word about the Aga Khan Music Initiative, which is the other sponsor of tonight's event. Ali.
Thank you, and welcome everyone to this event. The Al-Walid program in Islamic Studies is absolutely delighted to be a co-sponsor for this event, because on the one hand we feel that arts and culture are a very important way in which you can learn about other cultures and civilizations. And in this regard, we are also very happy to partner with the Aga Khan Music Initiative that has been focused on preserving traditions of music in Central Asia initially, but expanding it to other parts of the world, of Muslim societies, traditions that have been threatened. And it's part of a larger network called the Alkan Trust of Culture for Culture, which looks at also historic cities and art and architecture broadly defined. But as Diane said, we can go on talking about all these programs and what their initiatives are, but we want to actually give you some time to actually experience the music. So with that, I will hand over to...
And again, briefly, Judith Eissenberg is a professor of the practice at Brandeis University and the director of Music Unites Us, which is the, again, sponsoring agency that brought these musicians here for the whole week at Brandeis. And Judy's going to say a word about that program and also to invite you to another concert. And then we'll move on to music, and you won't hear any more from us.
We're working our way through the talk. So Brandeis is fortunate enough to host these musicians all week, going to different classes throughout the university, and it'll be capped by a public world music, a Fargana Qasimova Ensemble concert on Saturday night. And there are still tickets. It will be an incredible evening of ashiq music and mugham. So you're getting a taste of it here. It's an incredible space that they create for us, isn't it? Somehow an access to the divine and yet full of human passion, those two existing together. And we're in that space with them, and they'll take us further on that journey as the afternoon continues. So please come to the concert. It'll be a long journey, that concert. And also at the reception, Fargana, who is on her first international solo tour, does have also her first CD. So I'd just grab that if I were you. I want to introduce our speaker, or person who will help understand a little bit the music, although the music, I think, speaks for itself. Aida Huseynova. Yeah, the microphone is not that kind of microphone. It's a microphone that kind of dampens no, it's for the video. So Aida is here. She teaches, she's a musicologist at Indiana University. She's here to curate and explain some of what's going on. She teaches music theory and music of the Silk Road. She's, since 2007, served as a research advisor and interpreter for the Silk Road Project under the artistic direction of Yo-Yo Ma, so she has been on the campus before. She's published many books and articles, and recently got a Fulbright for her work. So I'll hand it over. Maybe she could explain a little bit about what you just heard and move on to the next piece of music.
Thank you, Judy. We are really delighted to be here today, and I would like to express our gratitude on behalf of the group of Azerbaijani musicians and myself. So thank you, Harvard University, for hosting us today. And we are thankful to the Aga Khan Music Initiative and to the Brandeis University for sponsoring this, this trip and this residency of these wonderful musicians here in Boston. You just heard the music that accumulated so much from the tradition of Azerbaijani music. The primary source was mugham, which is the richest, the quintessential genre of music in Azerbaijan. It's a regional branch of the tradition that pertains to the Middle East and Central Asia, to many cultures, let's say, to several traditions across this area. And mugham is an Azerbaijani version of it. There is a term makam that is like a sort of a generic term that unifies all the traditions that are related to this genre and this type of music. It's an improvised modal music. It is based on improvisation, but of course it follows some rules. So you have to be aware of these rules, and it takes years for musicians to master their rules to get this amount of artistic freedom that they demonstrate today. So mugham is combination, or let's say fusion, of so many impulses. Azerbaijan as a country is located on the crossroads of Europe and Asia, and its culture and music definitely reflects that incredible in-betweenness. Azerbaijani music has been shaped by many influences. First coming from Persian cultures, from Persian tradition, because Azerbaijan has been a part of Persian Empire since antiquity. Then the Turkish factor is of incredible importance because Azerbaijan is ethnically and linguistically and culturally, they are close to Turkey, and they actually speak the language that is very close to the Turkish language. Then let's say the first decades of the 19th century, the northern part of Azerbaijan was annexed by Russia because there was a war between Russia and Iran at that time. So the northern part, which is now known as the Republic of Azerbaijan, and which is the place where these musicians they come from, developed multifaceted and rich culture, and mugham is an important part. In 2003, UNESCO, the cultural organization of Europe, recognized mugham, Azerbaijani mugham, as the masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of all humanity. And in 1977, a piece of mugham was included on one of the US spacecrafts that went beyond the solar system. It was one of the several selections of musical pieces that were supposed to represent the emotional life of the humanity here on Earth. So again, that was one, the main source of the music that you've heard. Another one is ashiq music or bardic tradition. Bardic tradition, so mugham reflects more influence from Persia, and this is the product of urban settings. Ashiq music reflects the Turkic roots of Azerbaijani culture and music, and it's more like product of rural setting. It's more entertaining, it's more democratic, let's say, in its essence. So we heard both combined in this one performance because there are no borders, strict borders, that would separate these two phenomena from each other. They are both based on the same modes of music. So there are songs and other musical elements that just, they move back and forth. They can be found in either mugham or ashiq music. So we just witnessed it. That first performance just showed it. I would like to introduce the musicians and the instruments that they play. So let me start with Rauf Islamov, who plays the kamancha. He has been with this group since long ago. He's probably the most, let's say, for how many years? Maybe more than 10 years. 15 years, he's a member of this group. Kamancha is a spiked fiddle, and it's can be again found across Middle East and Central Asia. It's used both as a solo instrument and as a part of the traditional mugham trio, because the traditional way of performing mugham is having singer playing the drum plus kamancha and the tar. So since I mentioned tar, so I would like to introduce Zaki Valiyev, who plays the tar. The tar is the lute. Again, you can find many different versions of it across the Middle East and Central Asia, but Azerbaijani tar is unique because, it happened at the end of the 19th century when the musician from Azerbaijan, Sadıkjan, he changed the construction of this instrument. He had they did play the Persian tar, but then they increased the number of strings to 11, from 6 to 11, and then they changed the shape of the tar a little bit. So now it looks and sounds slightly different from its Persian counterpart. This is the tar. Then we have Rafael Asgarov, who plays set of woodwind instruments. So he can play tutak, flute like the small flute. He can play balaban and clarinet. Clarinet is the Western relative of those traditional instruments that I just mentioned. And then the youngest member of the ensemble, Javidan Nabiyev, and he plays these beautiful instruments. They are called NAGHARA, and he has actually two of them. And he plays both of them sometimes at the same time. So Javidan has become a member of this group probably 5 years ago, approximately. 7 or 8, yes, more. Yeah, I remember we were on the tour together, and I was with these musicians, and that was his first trip, so I remember it very well. So now he's an experienced musician on his own, and I think that again, I wouldn't take the precious time, and let's just listen to the music. The ensemble is going to play some instrumental piece right now, and so that you will get a chance to listen to hear the voice of each of these instruments. Thank you. So now it's time to introduce the singer around whom this ensemble is actually like centered. Fargana Qasimova is the one of the leading female singers of mugham these days. It is truly difficult to be a daughter of the singer who is considered to be the living treasure of Azerbaijani music. Yes, she is a daughter of Alim Qasimov, and Alim Qasimov is one of those musicians who create history. So he made his contribution to the history of mugham is incredible. He changed so many things, and things that he, like, his innovations are now considered to be the rules. She is his student, and daughter. This is great because, and I know how proud she is to be Alim Qasimov's student. I know how much she inherited from her father, and this is the spirit of innovation that she also has, and she is always ready to include and imply in her performances. And the true knowledge of mugham and all the details, because it's a long way that each musician has to pass to be able to convey all nuances and all the details of this ancient art. Eventually, like year by year, Fargana just became a big, big artist, an outstanding artist on her own. So she's not just the daughter of Alim Qasimov these days. She is the artist who is recognized in the country, and just recently she had a solo concert in the country's largest concert venue. And that concert, in the program of that concert included mugham plus many others ways, fusion of mugham with forms of the music outside of Azerbaijani music tradition. So we are privileged to have her here with us. And she, of course, represents the the category of female musicians, mugham musicians. And this can be a topic, like a separate topic to talk about, because historically, women appeared on the stage of performing mugham relatively late, I mean later than men, but eventually during the 20th century, Azerbaijani music produced a cohort, many outstanding female performers of mugham. Is the mugham performed by female different from the one performed by male? Yes and no. It is the same mugham because you have to know the rules and to follow them. But of course, women, they bring some other energies, let's say, into the performance of mugham. And Fargana and her art demonstrates this probably in its maximal possible way. I think we are ready for the next performance, or maybe we should allow some questions. What? The music. So are we ready to continue? Yes. So it's going to be a mugham composition, and you will hear the main components of it. One is the flow of improvisation, and another one is the song-like and dance-like episodes that are allowed, and actually they must be performed between the actual mugham episodes.
Açılır mı gönlü onun seyri bağdan? Sordum sorağını, sordum sorağını, dediler beyle yar olan. Kaşlal olaydı dilim bu sorağdan ya. ülkerim, ey nazlı dilberim, ey tale ülkerim, kalmayır can bende sen gülende. Ey bəxtəvər mələyimin arzu min dilə gül açır sinəmdə sən güləndə. Ey bəxtəvər mələyimin arzu min dilə gül açır sinəmdə sən güləndə. Ey nazlı dilbərim, ey tale ülkerim, qalmayır can məndə sən güləndə. Səndən coşar yel nəğmə qoşar, fərəhindən coşar yel nəğmə qoşar, şur ilə bülbül, lalə qılınır, şur ilə bülbül, lalə qılınır. Açar sinəmdə sən güləndə, açar sinəmdə sən güləndə.
It's just really important to be in the room together when we experience something like that. So intimate and deep. There's a word that I keep wanting to understand more deeply that is used by the musicians to describe the state at which they try to be at when they sing this music. It's hal. And I wondered if we could hear from Fargana or whoever wants to speak to it, what is hal, and maybe also what is the purpose of mugham? Because I think that question is maybe connected, and I think we feel a little bit of the answer here as we listen to it.
Deməli, sual belədir. Ümumiyyətlə, bilirəm ki, muğamın ifasında hal anlayışı çox mühümdür və mən istərdim də, yəni Fərqan xanım, sizin bu haqda fikrinizi öyrənim və ümumiyyətlə muğamın məqsədi, muğam musiqisinin əsas məqsədi, yəni nədə görürsünüz?
Əsas məqsəd burada, yəni zahiri deyil, batini bir düşüncədir. Muğam da əsas odur. Yəni bu muğamın mənə də yəni belə bir söz də var ki, muğamı insanları təmizləmək üçün gözəl sözləri götürüb, həmən bu muğam üzərində danışıblar, oxuyublar və insanları təmizliyə çağırıblar. Muğam özü nurlanma deməkdir. Yəni ki, Tanrıdan gəlib Tanrıya getmək. Yəni bu xüsusiyyətləri daşıyır özündə. Bu nəinki elə səslə oxumaqdır, yəni səsin var oxumaqdır. Yox, bu mütləq daxilə gedib düşünmək. Əlbəttə bunu muğamı öyrənəndə artıq bu sirləri öyrənirsən. Bu sirləri öyrənməkdən ötürü böyük ustadın olmalıdır. Yəni hər ustad da bunu başa sala bilmir və yaxud anlada bilmir. Ancaq mənim bəxtim gətirib ki, mən elə bir ustadın qızıyam ki, o mənə bu sirləri aşlaya-aşlaya gəlir və ona görə mən muğam dünyasından belə bir söhbət eləyə bilərəm.
Mugham is a very intimate kind of music. Mugham is the music that reflects your inner self. It's not about the events from outside. It is about what you feel inside of you. Mugham, I believe that mugham emerged as the means of purifying human soul. Because when you have such a profoundly deep lyrics and you put it into music and you add music to such lyrics, it becomes such a powerful tool and so powerful way to transform people's inner world. So I believe, and for me personally, mugham is the way of purifying and the inner, let's say, spiritual world of everyone. And it is also a source of light. I just view it as the music that has so much energy in it, the light that we feel and try to deliver when we perform it. You have to accomplish these feelings only after you have gone through the training. You need to have a good teacher or ustad in tradition. And not like everyone can be ustad. I think I'm lucky because I had an ustad such as Alim Qasimov, so that I learned all this from him, and I think I learned what mugham is from him as well. O sonda düşündüğümüz, yani kadına daha yani məxsus olan gül meselesi, indi olsa, indi o da son ifa olacak.
İndi oxuyaq. Axırda nəyi oxuyaq? Şey oxuyaq da,
So they are going to perform the composition that reflects probably the role of women in mugham. Both the lyrics and music content of this composition would be more representative for the female mugham tradition.